Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are going to talk about the trend that is happening in Twitter and Instagram. It is basically the concept of quiet quitting. This has been started by the late millennials and the Gen Z categories. So, what exactly is quiet quitting? Whether you should do it or not, we'll discuss it about more in the later point of the video. But for now, we should get started on describing what exactly is quiet quitting. So in quiet quitting, you are not actually quitting your job. What you are doing is, you are basically doing what you were supposed to do as part of your job description. You don't take anything extra that you should be doing as for your career growth or for the well-being of the company or your performance, but you just get it through it somehow daily and every day and keep on doing the same things over and over again without any prospect of improving your performance or adding points for the career growth. In today's video, we'll also discuss about how it is impacting our future prospects and how it is not actually trending in India. As you know, most of the things trend in India as soon as those get started. But this has not been the point here. Before getting started, let's first define what is quiet quitting. In quiet quitting is basically a concept which has been coined by the Gen Z, where you work for the minimum task that you are supposed to do as part of your job. Whether it's a 9 to 5 job, you work from 9 to 5 to get your work done, and then you are once your time is done, you are just over with. You don't reply to mails after 5, you don't take up calls after 5 or whatever time is defined for you, and you don't even bother about taking care of mail, and you don't even bother about doing any additional tasks. So what exactly are people doing as part of quiet quitting? They are basically quitting the hustle culture, where you do and more than what you were supposed to do, provide something extra as part of your work so that you are rewarded in the same perspective. Basically quitting the hustle culture. So this sounds good, right? Before we go through it, whether it's good or bad, first we should focus on why it actually got started. We should step backward to the point where coronavirus was just starting out and people were getting forced to get locked down into their home with nothing to do, just work, few time pass, and involved in the same daily to do tasks. So what basically happened is, people had no idea on how to maintain a long running work from home culture. They were not able to distinguish whether they are working as part of job or they should spend the time with their family or play around or take a break. This came with a lot of burnouts for almost everyone, which further led to the health issues, sometimes mental, physical, and in many others. And as people were not able to understand completely the work from home environment, the work kept on spilling over from beyond the time they were supposed to do. They became available 24/7. They start getting more work and they kept on doing so and so. But after being in this culture for some time, people felt that they have been living only for work. So they started switching from living to work, from work to live. That was the start of the Great Resignation, which started some time back. Now, moving on from the Great Resignation, people started focusing on more on their health problems and how to take more breaks and how to perform and not to worry about how to perform on their work. So, is it really bad? And it happens everywhere around the world? I don't think so. So if you compare the American counterparts with the European counterparts, the amount of work which a US employee takes up is around 7 hours every day. But compared to the same in the European Union and other European countries, they take around 4 to 5 hours per day. That's consistently low. Same goes for the vacation. People usually take 2 weeks of paid vacation in US compared to 4 to 5 weeks of paid vacation in Europe. And if you move from European and American comparison to East Asian, Indian, or any Chinese or Japanese culture, there the culture is even worse. People tend to work at least 4 to 5% more as per the studies conducted. So does that mean it justifies the quiet quitting? Let's figure it out as we go through this video. So burnouts, low pay, not performing well, or not liking the job is not a justifiable excuse for you to do the trending quiet quitting part. So now let's discuss why it's actually bad for you. So once you go into the mode of quiet quitting, it's very difficult to distinguish between the line of where you should stop your work and whether that work is actually hampering your performance. Your creativity gets hampered and restricted. You don't focus that much on your work part, and which stops you from doing something new, perform really well on your job. It even stops you from going for the upskilling part, which is very important in this dynamic work environment. As the market dynamics have changed recently, you should be you should be doing as much as you can. If they are thinking about doing any cost cutting, you should never come up as the first person who they should show the door. You should always remember the Newton's third law: what you give is what you get. Now let's think about why it's not trending in India. So I can think of two different reasons. First, in India, it is already overpopulated. For any job that you have, if it's an average level job to a little more advanced skill, so for any job that we have, there is always someone who is willing to take up that job with lesser pay, unless you are a very high skill employee and your job is really what you can only do it. But things in India are little different. The other point is, people here were already habituated with even worse culture than quiet quitting. Anyone who had been in contact with any government job or has to go to any government office, whether now in the block level jobs, get anything done, it's really difficult, because forget about people doing from their 9 to 5 job and performing on what they were supposed to do. They're not even available at that point, at least half of that time, and doing even half of the time while they're in office. The same culture was available in the banking sector and all other sectors prior to 2000s. So those were before the Gen Z's culture. So I don't think so they were even aware how things were getting done. The burnout and all those things came very recently, and the progress of anything, whether as a person you or yourself or the company, depends on doing what more than what you were supposed to do. Then only the growth comes. So in my personal opinion, you should not even think about doing it. So suppose if you are burnt out, take vacation, take paid leave, unpaid leave, get refreshed. If you think your job is not good or you are hating it, you are not in communication or sync with your managers or the roadmap of your company, your pay is bad, think about it, have a discussion, get things sorted out. If things are not getting sorted out, then you should not do quiet quitting. You should actually quit your job and get it over with, because in the long run, it is going to impact you more than it is going to impact anyone else. You may never know when you will need to do upskilling, and if you are out of touch, it's very difficult to get back into the trend. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please stay tuned for the next week release, where I'll be discussing about why Bitcoin is gold for the Gen Z and the late millennial people. And please hit subscribe and like button. Thank you.